Now at 10, a Lawrence County judge sentences 2 suspects in a 2020 murder. Plus, the city of Joplin answers questions about contingency plans to reduce transit services.
The Neosho School District has a creative new way to address their workforce shortage while also helping students get their first jobs. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with those details.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
2 of the 9 suspects in a 2020 murder in Lawrence County, Missouri, learn their fate. This is KOAM News at 10. A judge sentenced 23-year-old Gary Hunter Jr. to 40 years in prison and 26-year-old Deanna Parks to 30 years. Both took plea deals in the murder case of Sarah Pascoe. Prosecutors say in 2020, Hunter and Parks, along with 7 other suspects, kidnapped Pascoe and a second woman, drove them to a well, and then shot them and left them for dead. This is that well. Pascoe was shot once in the head and died. Prosecutors say the second victim hid under Pascoe's body and pretended to be dead as Gary Hunter Jr. fired into that well. Authorities say that woman survived and was able to tell investigators where they could find Pascoe's body. Oklahoma today executed a man for killing 2 hotel workers during a robbery in 2001. A small group of people gathered to protest the execution outside the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAllister. Authorities say the now 46-year-old Donald Grant killed Brenda Michaelia and Felicia Suzette Smith, so there'd be no witnesses to his robbery. Michaelia's sister spoke to the media after today's execution.
There was a time when there was once doubt that justice would ever be served, and now there is none, and we can move forward. And the memories of the murder, the trial, and the years spent waiting can be replaced with happier memories of Brenda.
This was the first execution in the U.S. in 2022 and the 3rd in Oklahoma since the state resumed lethal injections in October. Before that, executions have been halted in Oklahoma for nearly 7 years. Checking in with Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice day for us today. Temperature is fantastic as we went into the mid-40s during the afternoon, which, hey, we'll definitely take right about where we should be for this time of the year. We started at 30 degrees during the morning hours. We do have some clouds kind of scooting through the region, nothing underneath the clouds. So we are going to stay dry tonight, but late tonight into the early morning hours, we may get a few random flurries in here. You probably won't even notice them as a weak little wave drops through. It is cooling down. We're into the mid to upper 20s to lower 30s in our southern counties. I think most of us will drop into lower 20s. A little bit cooler for us tomorrow. I still think we'll warm near 40 degrees, but about 5 degrees shy of what we did see today. Big warm up heading into the weekend. Big cool down next week. Also some rain, thunderstorms, ice, and snow. We'll talk about it all here in just a bit.
See you then. City of Joplin hosted a public meeting to discuss contingency plans for reducing transit services if they don't have adequate staffing. There are 4 plans on the table that would reduce routes for MAPS or for the trolley system. Today's meeting was not to choose a plan, it was just to answer any questions residents may have.
So, thankfully at this point we aren't looking at we have to do any of these. But, we are certainly close enough that we need to look ahead and see if something happened and we were to lose 1 or 2 more people due to, whatever it is, even a day-to-day basis, how do we react to it so that we can still serve as many people as possible?
You can find details about the plans on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Missouri Governor Mike Parson is calling for increased funding for higher education in the proposed state budget for next fiscal year, and some of that increased funding would go to Missouri Southern if the budget's passed. It would give the university $30 million for a health science innovation building. It would also provide a $1.4 million increase for the school's core budget. The university calls the proposal encouraging, but points out it's just the first step in a 5-month legislative process. Staffing shortages are an ongoing issue nationwide, but the Neosho School District is implementing a new program to help with their own shortages. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has how a new program for high school students aims to help while giving students workforce experience.
The Neosho School District is unfortunately no stranger to staffing shortages.
We started losing staff members. We've stayed understaffed in our custodial department.
This lack of staffing, specifically in the custodial department, has made it harder for the district's custodial team to keep the district clean, something that's become even more important during the pandemic.
Well, it just makes it harder to get the schools clean and disinfected like they should be.
To remedy this issue, the district has launched a new program to get more staff members. Who would they be hiring?
Hiring students. I hope to have more hands to help get our schools clean and safe.
The idea to hire students isn't new. Multiple school districts across the country have been testing it out amid nationwide staffing shortages. Here's how it would work. All applicants would need to be Neosho High School students and would need to be at least 16 years old. They'd also need at least a 2.0 GPA and have reliable transportation. The district says they hope it can not only help with staffing, but also give students valuable work experience.
I think it's a win-win for our school system, and I think it's a win-win for our kids. Maybe we instill some work ethic in them where they are getting paid, and then we're cleaning our schools and keeping them good for our community, our students.
It would give students the chance to learn some new skills and alleviate the ongoing workforce shortage.
I'm really excited about this program, and our community's excited about it too. I have a lot of people approach me and ask me about it, and I've had a lot of positive comments on this new program.
In Neosho, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Now, so far, 4 students have applied to the program. The custodial team is currently 4 people short. Another school shortage brought on by the pandemic, not enough substitute teachers. It's become so dire, some schools have struggled to stay open. Well, in Wichita, Kansas, a construction company is stepping in to help. The CEO of Hutton Construction says the plan is to give 5 extra PTO days to all 275 team members to use to sub or para in classrooms through the end of the year.
Our schools were just having a really hard time keeping teachers in the classrooms, and we thought that maybe that's something that we could help with.
Some employees are already excited about the opportunity that they are getting started with the sub process already. They're going to get their regular pay on top of the pay that they earn while subbing. Beaten Path, a new coffee shop located on Main Street just 2 doors down from Souls Harbor, is paving the way for kindness to grow in Joplin. Over cups of coffee and conversation, John Baker, the owner of the shop, has come to know and appreciate families and individuals experiencing homelessness. He admits he initially had misgivings about opening his place this close to the shelter. Over time, though, he says he's come to realize that this location is a blessing that's pushed him to grow as a more empathetic person.
I was not the most amicable to the homeless in the beginning, so I was scared that it was going to be a huge issue. And then through the year of construction, I slowly got to know a lot of them. And I realized that they are me and you, just had a hard time in life, and they need a hand up to get their feet on the ground.
Baker hopes more people will do their part to spread kindness to those who often feel overlooked, perhaps by volunteering some time at Souls Harbor. Coming up, we're going to break down the judges on President Biden's shortlist to fill a Supreme Court vacancy, plus why the FCC wants to make broadband nutrition labels mandatory for internet service providers. President Biden officially announced Justice Stephen Breyer's retirement from the Supreme Court. The president praised the justice's nearly 28 years as a member of the nation's highest court and said he'll fulfill a campaign promise in picking his successor. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
President Biden says he hasn't yet made a choice on who will replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer, but he promised it will be historic.
Someone with extraordinary qualifications, character, experience, and integrity. And that person will be the first black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court.
CBS News has learned top contenders include federal appeals court judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, a former clerk for Breyer, who spoke about that experience in 2017.
It was an incredible experience just to be in the room while the justice grappled with some of the most difficult and consequential legal issues of the day.
Among other possibilities are U.S. District Judge J. Michelle Childs and California Supreme Court Justice Leondra Kruger. Breyer, who was sworn in as justice in 1994, will step down when the court's current term ends this summer.
Justice Breyer has been everything his country could have asked of him.
At Thursday's White House announcement, President Biden noted his history with the justice. Then Senate Judiciary Chair Biden presided over his confirmation process.
This is sort of a bittersweet day for me.
Breyer, one of 3 liberal justices now on the Supreme Court, took a moment to reflect on his decades on the bench.
This is a complicated country. There are more than 330 million people, and my mother used to say it's every race, it's every religion, and she would emphasize this, and it's every point of view possible.
President Biden says he plans to announce his pick for a successor by the end of February. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The president said he would consult with the vice president and senators. It takes only a simple majority to confirm a Supreme Court nominee after the Senate rules changed in 2017. The U.S. government is considering a so-called broadband nutrition label for internet providers. In 2016, the FCC launched a voluntary labeling program that gave consumers information like prices, speeds, and data caps. Now the commission is proposing that it becomes mandatory for all wired internet providers and mobile carriers. The goal is to help consumers better understand the internet service they buy and stop unexpected costs and fees. Before the FCC can make the change, it has to get public feedback on that proposal. A little bit later, we're going to learn about a Parsons, Kansas woman who'll celebrate her 100th birthday next week.
Plus, a big warm-up rolling in for the weekend. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a decent day for us today. Temperatures back into the mid-40s for afternoon highs, which, hey, we'll definitely take it. It's quite a bit warmer than what we have seen over the past couple days. A little cool for us tonight and then into the daytime hours tomorrow, but a big warm-up as we head into the weekend, which is great. We are watching a storm system next week that could give us some ice and snow, so we're going to have to really pinpoint that down as we go through the next few days. Of course, you can get the latest long-range forecast all the way through March on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, let's go outside. Here's a nice shot. This is a live shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But it looks great. We do have a few clouds sneaking through, but we're dry. We don't have any big storm systems which are coming our direction, at least over about the next 4 days. And then things will start to change. Mid-40s for us today. We've dropped. We had a cold front roll through, so mid-20s to lower 30s. I think most of us will drop back into lower 20s a little bit later on tonight. We have these light northerly winds, which are kind of ushering in that cooler air, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So temperature is kind of cold tonight. 31 now. Winds are calm. Humidity's at 67%. I think we'll drop off another 8 or 9 degrees. We do have some clouds which are rolling through. Nothing underneath the clouds, but late tonight we may get a few random flurries. There's a weak little wave to our north which is swinging through, so we may get a random flake or two late tonight into tomorrow morning. Look out toward the west. Nothing going on. That's our weather as we go through the next few days. Not too much going on until we head into next week. All right, let's break it down for you. Lower 20s tonight, in and out of the clouds. Again, a random flurry during the morning. Near 35 by noon, and then we're going to warm up, I think most of us, upper 30s to near 40 degrees. Here's your day planner. 26 to start, 36 by noon, high of 40, northerly winds are going to be light at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, still going to be kind of cold. We're going to drop back into the mid-20s once again, but here's a big key here. Look at the winds. They're out of the south at this point in time, so those southerly winds help our temperatures bounce into the mid-50s by the time we head into the daytime hours on Saturday. In fact, on Sunday, we're going to go into the mid-50s. So you're heading to Arrowhead, kickoff, upper 40s, not bad. Monday, we're going to go into the 60s for highs. Then here comes our next storm system. Rain will start to increase on Tuesday. We may even get some thunderstorms mixing in. And then as that colder air works in, this isn't a strong system, but it's a stronger system. But as the colder air starts to work in, we should go over to freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Can't really pinpoint how much ice we're going to have this far out, how much snow we're going to have, but it's something we want to watch as we go through the next few days. 40 tomorrow, 54 on Saturday, 53 on Sunday, 64 on Monday, and then the bottom really just drops out. We drop through the 20s on Wednesday. Arctic air rolls in, gets much colder.
It's like we're getting a little tease of spring, and then boom, here comes winter.
Not yet.
Thanks, Doug. And Bybee of Parsons, Kansas is about to do something not many of us ever get a chance to do: celebrate a 100th birthday. She's lived an interesting life, to say the least. She worked as a welder in World War II, kind of a real-life Rosie the Riveter. She's been inducted into the Kansas Bowling Hall of Fame and has been honored for volunteer service at Parsons Hospital, putting in 3,000 hours.
You want to sit around and make yourself miserable? You can. You want to make yourself happy, enjoy life? You can. It's what you want to make of yourself. And what you can do.
Some words of wisdom there. And still volunteers at the Parsons Hospital. Her birthday is February 5th. Her brother, he's already hit the century mark. He's 101. Their little baby sister, she's a mere 98. Happy birthday, Mrs. Bybee. Coming up in sports, Fort Scott and Frontenac Wrestling meet for their annual Cannonball Clash. And a buzzer beater lifts the Pitt State women over Northeastern State. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more next.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas are back on the floor tonight for a home doubleheader against Northeastern State. On the women's side, the Gorillas aim to sweep the season series over the Riverhawks after beating them in Tahlequah back in December. Pitt State enters the day 6-6 in the MIAA, 11-7 overall. In the second, Sydney Crane for three. 7-0 run for Pitt State to open the second quarter. Final seconds of the half, Aaron Davis connects from deep. Gorillas go to break up 28-24. From there, game gets interesting. PSU up one with 30 seconds left. Malia Langstaff, huge night. 26 points, 10 boards. NSU leads by one with 25 seconds to go. A Gorillas ball now. Look, who else? Tristan Gegg and the foul. She scores 14 in the fourth, finishes with 24. Gorillas back up two. Now under 10 seconds, look at this. Ashton Hackler off the glass from three. That ties the game, so Gorillas get one more chance with just 2 seconds left. Inbound here goes to Jamie Jackson. Look at this. Count it as the buzzer sounds off the glass. Game winner as time expires. The Gorillas win 71-69. Jamie Jackson, the hero tonight for Pitt State.
We were trying to get a post up on the block to either me or Holmes and try to get a quick shot in the paint, but they kind of knew what we were going to do, and they ended up doubling down there. So I kind of just popped out and tried to make something happen at the end. It felt really good, and then I saw my whole team swarming at me, which is probably the best feeling.
You know, it's great to see your kids make plays. I mean, Jamie's play at the end was just a player making a play. She was pretty excited, I think, and everybody being excited for her. Nobody cares at that moment. Nobody cares. We just want to win the game.
To the men's game now, Gorillas try to snap a 5-game losing streak and split the season series with NSU. Slow start to the game, but Cam Hufner working down low. Gorillas on the board first. Now, other end, Riverhawks take their first lead here. Obi Agu finishes off the window. Now off the bench, Ryan Pippins. Big night for PSU, scores a team-high 16. Now the Gorillas almost erased a 17-point halftime deficit, but they fall just short tonight, 60-54. Well, Fort Scott and Frontenac Wrestling meet tonight for their annual Cannonball Clash. The Raiders and Tigers compete in a triangular with Joplin this evening in Frontenac, with the two SEK rivals finishing up the night. Fort Scott aiming to take the trophy home for the second straight season, while the Raiders try for their 5th win in 6 years. Fort Scott's Jasper Allison ranked 3rd in 4A at 120 pounds. Big takedown. He would win by fall. Freshman Brody Gomez also ranked 126 pounds. He gets it done quickly, finishes it in 21 seconds. Fort Scott out to a big lead early. Frontenac starts to climb back in it behind the two best guys. Dawson Lapping, #1 in the state of 4A and undefeated. He takes care of business tonight. Then Justice Compton, also #1 at 170 pounds. He wins by fall. At this point, it's neck and neck. energy in the gym crazy. First-year wrestler Blake Tomasi here. He gets the pin in the first period for Fort Scott. Tigers win it for the second year in a row, 45-27.
Sometimes when you're not the most talented team, you have to outwork your opponents. And Keith always has a team that is going to be in top-notch shape, and we knew we had to step it up and keep some matches close and win some matches late. Wrestling's so much of an individual sport, so when you can make something so team-involved and everybody gets excited and everybody wants everybody to win and there's not any selfishness, it's really good for our sport.
That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Reinhold Engel served in the U.S. Army in 1944 and 1945. The Walnut, Missouri native was stationed in France and Germany, and we salute Private First Class Reinhold Engel, a four-state hero. Hey, there's something flashing brightly in outer space, and scientists aren't quite sure what it is. A spinning object releasing giant bursts of energy was discovered back in 2018. Now, at that time, it was the brightest source of radio waves visible from Earth. Now astronomers are taking guesses on just what it might be. The leading theory? It's what's known as a magnetar. Sounds like a superhero or a supervillain, but actually those are the remnants of stars that have died, but they usually flare each second. This object turned on for about a minute every 18 minutes, which no other known celestial object does. And I know at least part of you kind of wants it to be an extraterrestrial being trying to communicate with us. We'll certainly keep you posted if that turns out to be the case. Unlikely, I think.
You'll know,
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Sure, sure. Weather.
All right, cold tonight. We're going to drop back to about 23, 40 tomorrow, but look at the big warm-up, 50s over the weekend, 60s on Monday. We'll worry about Tuesday and Wednesday when we get to it.
Final sports note.
I told you Jamie Jackson had the game winner tonight for Pittsburgh State. She finished the game with 11 points.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service